This is the Philosopher Cactus, and for some reason, I think he's my favorite YouTuber. He's honestly just a normal guy, and most of his videos are simply talking about matters that he finds distasteful or interesting to him personally. He doesn't have any overly flashing editing, and while his voice does remind me of another YouTuber that I really enjoy listening to, he's just...
I'm just what?
You. Last year I made a video that, as pretentious as it comes off, despite me not meaning for it to be so, made a case for what it meant to be a YouTuber. I talked about my favorite creators, my least favorite, and the people that I've once followed that have fallen out of my personal favor. Those that went from the king of their craft to glorified trend chasers, attaching themselves to what works rather than what they enjoy. And creators that I've ended up sticking up with are more or less themselves as well. That brings me back to Cactus, which is what I've simply decided to name him.
Alright.
Every video, for a lack of a better phrase, is just so unapologetically him. His nostalgia towards retro console gaming, his experience with shitty ads that play on YouTube, all the way down to an 11-minute video simply describing how much he's aged and experienced in his nearly 40 years of life. I can't describe them well enough because they're so integral to his experience as a human being that I can only suggest him if you're into, quote, armchair philosophy delivered to your front door.
Do I apply any philosophical methodology to my arguments? No. What people get is merely the frustrated ramblings of an Irish cactus with an exquisite command of the English language.
I don't think my enjoyment of his content is any accident either. There are plenty of people out there who will sell their mother's soul just to crack the algorithm and make a banger video. I find myself slipping into that mindset as well, that I have to be someone in order to be anyone. Take a look at the once revered YouTuber, now turned infamous Pyrocynical. Once known as a pioneer of covering information in a nuanced and informative way, now down to streaming headlines and reporting on the first bit of information he can find, and getting things wrong. I was never a fan of his, but you can imagine my shock once I realized that he is once better than he is now somehow. The landscape of creativity has dried up for the higher echelon of YouTubers, and now we're all stuck with the husk of what they once were before. And it's sad seeing them manage to make it as far as they have, only to coast in the revelry, taking up the view and obscuring far more talented creators that either give up due to their efforts not being worth it, or being tucked away into their respective niches, making them incredibly difficult to find without knowing who they are.
Yeah, someone should do something about that.
Wait, are you still here?
Do you want me to be?
Anyway, this landscape of clickbait and grabbing your attention, jerking it around, isn't just infecting YouTube. A fascinating video by YouTuber Pillar of Garbage talks about the infestation of Netflix videos that are specifically designed not just to be watchable, but actively be engaging enough so that you don't even have to look up at the screen to see it. A literal representation of mindless indulgence, just to keep your attention on them and to obtain relevance. Similarly, in the same video, the YouTuber talks about music labels that perpetuate themselves in stardom, not by ever being creative or groundbreaking, but by simply staying relevant. Like the mentioned Imagine Dragons, once revered for their creative styles of genre mixing and creative punchy style in their music, now drifting in the same revelry that broke them into stardom in the first place, not looking for songs to better their standing with their fans, but unfortunately attempting to release whatever they could to keep them circulating in Spotify playlists and Apple Music radios. It's like nowadays everything wants to say, hey, look at me, without giving anything of substance. Which makes me think, actually, am I doing that? Are we doing that? Art is about expression and freedom of form, the ability to exist without the fear of external forces. What did I accomplish by making this? I can't end the video here. There has to be some form of moral, or it's just slop. No, I made this video because of me. Screw the crap and every popular YouTuber. The reason why I'm making this isn't to find the appeal of anything. And it's certainly not to uncover some hidden agenda and crack some sort of story of the century about the downfall of YouTube. This This is about me, spending every day of my waking hours struggling, fighting my way day by day without the ability to find something worthwhile in my home feed to make it all go away. If I had a nickel for every time I hit the not interested button on YouTube for a video that I'm not interested in, I swear to you, everyone that's watching this video right now will get their own personal pizza from Papa John's. I don't have OCD, but I do have a frustration with things that I don't like, and often I'll go out of my way just to remove them from my site. I enjoy nice information or explanatory videos that go over a topic that I'm either unfamiliar with or something that I want to know more about. I can get how sometimes that's hard to come by. But what I'm not a fan of, especially when I just want to throw a couple of videos in the background while I'm at work, is clips of literally any show. Clips from podcasts. Videos from 17 fucking years ago about some guy dancing. Episode reviews, especially for shows that I've never even heard about. Anything that has to do with any celebrity. Bonus points if I don't give a damn about them. Music. I already have an entire app for that YouTube already fucking owns. Things that I've already seen. I'm not a very hard guy to please. But if there is a button that helps you tune your algorithm and prevents things you don't like from showing up in a feed designed to cater you the best the website has to offer, why on earth would you feed those same things back to me when I don't want them? But I've bared with that for the last 8 years or so. It still frustrates me into infinity, but at least I can swipe those away. I think my biggest problem, by far, is the constant, "Hey, look at me!" titles and thumbnails that proliferate the website. I get that you have to stand out in such a world, but I often feel disappointed when I click things like that. It's like, the more desperate the YouTuber is to grab my attention, the worse off the content will be. And I don't think there's very many exceptions to that rule. Maybe it's just my older brain, but I don't like the rambling for 5 minutes to talk about a simple topic. Am I one of those? No. I've gotten back into mobile gaming lately. And while I know at least one of you, statistically, side at that statement, ads that are featured in those games propagate themselves and seem like they're trying to appeal to the lowest common denominator. These ads feature low-hanging fruit and the most bare-bone tactics to draw you into their mostly simple games that don't have any substance beyond it.
What you doing?
I'm making us money. Don't distract me.
You playing that game, aren't you?
It's not just any game. It's solitaire cash. And boom, I just won 20 bucks.
Seeing ads like this make me wonder if the only way to make it in this world is to slop your way to the top. Mobile games aren't even that fun. They feel like chores. And that has already made its way into other video games that are paid for on consoles and such. I'm going a bit off script here, but I think the way the world is going right now seems to be feeding us towards, perhaps the best way to say is a lack of autonomy. We are no longer people who are interested in a thing. We are selected and sheep-bred into a pattern. Ones that default into a simplistic way of being, rather than just being the person who can select what we want to select. Advertisements like this.
What? Hold on. Who is this king?
King Robert, royal match?
And this.
Look at you, investing like you run the joint. I guess that makes you the boss.
And this. And you get the point. Aren't made to install an idea of fun. They're made to pique your interest. They're made to pull you away from what you currently have and tell you that this could potentially be better. And while I have been around long enough to see what kind of game they're pulling here with ads like this, it makes me wonder who exactly is out there. Who is falling for these traps in order for them to proliferate ads like this all over the place? They're on YouTube advertising websites. They're in other mobile games. I'm pretty sure I've seen one on TV, though that was Hulu, so I guess that kind of counts as YouTube, a streaming website. Anyway, this is what it looks like on YouTube for me, everywhere. Every thumbnail that is just trying to click and grab you and pull you into their video just to get your click rather than to tell you something. This makes me wonder, how exactly did we get here? How do we get to a point where it is easy for you to click on something you don't like just to get the small bits of information out of it to feed this cycle of slop, which is the new clickbait? While it gives you exactly what you look for in the thumbnail, you don't get much more out of it from a lot of these channels. A lot of people blame the Mr. Beastification of YouTube, but I think the monetization that has come in with this has corrupted it more than it should have. Getting to that pinnacle of being a social media influencer and getting the money that comes with it taints the mind of a person who is doing this for creativity. I think a business mindset is a lot more oriented towards doing what works, rather than doing what makes you feel free and happy, which is exactly what art is starting to move away from, especially with AI being so proliferated. I can't even go on Google and search something without an AI image popping up, which is something I didn't think would ever happen, but here we are. But I'm just a YouTuber, and you've probably seen 4 other videos like this before, and I have no solution for it. There is no moral here. I'm just sad. But, I'll see you tomorrow, I guess. Subscribe to this cactus. He's a good cactus.